Hello, I've been working on a project to produce a 9.2 inch railway gun. In fact, I've made 2 trains with these guns. There were several types produced during the Great War, and collectively they fired over 45,000 shells between them. This is the 9.2 inch gun alone. The version I've decided to do was mid-war, and it's a Mark III Star or Mark VI gun on a Mark I well wagon. The BL 9.2 inch guns were former Navy guns, made from 1899 by the Ellswick Ordnance Company. Vickers and Beardmores also made some. This early version was painted all green, every bit of it. However, later in the war they did change to the 3-colour camouflage with black lining. To fire the gun, the wagon was lowered onto the railway tracks, but that meant it had a limited elevation and traverse. They improved it later with better mounts and armours that were moved out for stabilisation. The las guns produced in World War I were also used for home defence in World War II before being scrapped in the 50s. By the end of the war, there was about 17 of these 9.2 inch guns in service, depending on which source you read. Some say 16. 4 of the guns were operated by the Third Army, and that covered Oisler or Mons. The railway station there, that I'm modelling, had gun spurs for this purpose. Other guns used were of course the 8 inch, 12 inch and the massive 14 inch railway guns. I've got several books and have read them on railway guns. The trains were generally made up of 6 wagons. There was certainly a fire control wagon that had windows, a repair wagon and also a secure ammunition wagon. There was also crew accommodation, but I'm not certain if the remaining 2 wagons were crew vehicles. However, it's well known that officers and the men were like to have had their own separate sleeping quarters, just like they did on troop trains and in ambulance trains. The guns themselves were operated by the Royal Garrison Artillery siege batteries. The Railway Operating Division were responsible for providing and maintaining the locomotives, and they didn't tend to use the best for that, as they were like to come to shell fire quite a lot. The French were responsible for maintaining the rolling stock, which seems a bit strange, but that's how it worked. I looked around and found some used wagons that were similar to the pictures I've seen of the American photos. The Americans were modelled on British and French. They had ammunition, repair and crew wagons. Now I couldn't fit the full-size repair wagon, which was a double bogie wagon, so I put a single one just so it would all fit on my layout. The guns I used, the artillery guns, were actually Hornby D-Day sets, which was a similar calibre and size, and I used some artillery troops as well that I got. Now in terms of scale, 9.2 inch converts to 233.68 millimetres. If you divide that by the gauge of 76.2, that works out a barrel size of 3.07 millimetres diameter. The gun's actually 3/4 of a millimetre too big, but it's fairly close. I mean, that's a pretty small amount. So this is where I've got to at the moment. It's not completely finished. I need to repaint the tarpaulin in its final colours, put some weathering on it and add transfers. I'm doing my own transfers, so I'm trying to print a lot together, such as the rod numbers and wagon numbering, so I save on waterslide transfer paper. I did try scratch building the cranes, but I'm hopeless at that. I tried thick cardboard and balsa wood, didn't work out, so I've compromised on these N-scale dockside cranes, which were about the right size. The barrel's also not very straight because it came in 2 pieces, and I bought a second-hand set and repainted it. When I tried to straighten the barrel, it snapped. So I'm going to retry with some heat, gentle heat, so I don't melt the paint at some point in the future, but I will get to it. But this is where we're at the moment. I hope you like it.